look at the group that's here and trying to help them transition, so to speak, and learn what's next.
As far as the transitioning, though, we're not telling people where they are in their career at all. That's something I want to make clear with this summit is, everybody here is on the wrong side of 30 for their career, but let Dan Henderson be an example. Some people can fight to 46. It's the same thing we tell the rookie symposiums. If you're 23, 24, your knee might pop and you might be done. I wasn't ready to quit when I did. My knee popped and then it popped again, and that was it. I thought I had another, year or two of income. And so the idea is just that at every point, at every phase of your career, you need to be thinking about what you're going to do next in life. And I think that's just the way of the modern world. People don't get with a union, work 30 years for one company, and then retire with a pension. That's not how corporate America works. Is that you get in, you stay on LinkedIn, you have a resume, you look actively at other jobs. I'm sure you do. Everybody does. That's more the way things work. And these are the skills, these presenters are providing the skills to do that with.
How does a fighter know when it's time? Like you said, for you it was an injury, but how does a fighter decide that?
That's not something that I personally want to, want to tell them. I think, their team, their family, themselves, factors start adding up. But that's not really, that's kind of, when your career's over, that's not something that we're really doing with this summit. That's not something I want to push. That's maybe a health issue for another day, but this is more a positive note of, hey, what else can I do? What else do I want to do? So I'm trying to look at it through a much more positive light, other than, oh, you're done now.
With the opening of that facility, like how involved is it going to be where the UFC is like bringing in fighters for physical therapy, or how does the fighter become involved with it?
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's why I mentioned it at the summit, is I want, especially these athletes, these veteran fighters, the guys that have been around, to come in, to tell us how it feels, to try the product out and say, this is working for us, this is something we don't like, this is what we do like. These are the athletes that can tell us the way things need to be. And they might not always be right, but I would love to hear, what they have to say or how we can improve things.